Hello everybody, welcome to Fast FPL with me, Spear Drops. I've got a bumper guide for you with updated stats, XGIs per 90, expected goals conceded per 90, recoveries per 90, saves per 90, everything updated for the tournament. We're going to go by position. It's unlimited transfers this week. It's Matchday 4. It's the Euro 2024 UEFA fantasy game. It's going to be a good one. I'm up to 42k. You guys don't care about that part. You care about the picks. Here we go. Goalkeepers then. So you'll see some updated stats, which I will explain a little bit. Obviously, the fixtures are all updated as well. I fully re-recorded this video because I got one fixture wrong, but that's fine. I wrote it wrong. Expected goals per 90. Expected goals conceded per 90. For keepers, it's the most important, as with defenders. I've underlined, for me, what is most important as a stat for the particular position. In goal, the two prime keepers for me, again, remain the same. These stats are from the tournament, remember? And again, England topped the stats for defensive expectations. Who knew? Who knew that would be the case with Southgate? I wouldn't recommend watching any England games, but I would recommend picking defenders from them. Slovakia up next for them, and Costa has Slovenia. Really good picks and a decent run for England to the final if they're good enough to do so. Unai Simon is next in the list. I don't like his price. I really like his fixture. I really like his team, but I don't like the route to the final. Next up is two cheapies. Verbruggen for Netherlands against Romania. 4.5 million. It's a really good pick, and maybe a good rotation pick as your second keeper. The same with Pence for Ralf Rangnick's Austria against Turkey at 4 million. A really good pick and a better pick than Nita. The rest of the picks on here, it's just if you fancy them, really. Neuer and Donnarumma are too expensive for me. There's way too cheaper options elsewhere that provide more upside in better teams with better fixtures, in my opinion. And you can also get defenders from these teams for less than what you would pay for those 6 million goalkeepers. But I know some people like just having the vibes of Neuer or Donnarumma in the team for some reason, but they are there. Just to show you their stats, because I know that people will be asking about them. Mike Mignon still makes the list in a very defensive side and a very strong side, but the fixture sucks against Belgium, and then he's probably playing Spain after that. So that's why I don't like the pick, but he's on there to show you the stats and my expectations for him and France. Nita makes the list as well just because of his price. Again, maybe if you can't, if you're based on your primary goalkeeper slot, Verbruggen and Pence maybe play on the same day, or you can't squeeze one of them in. Nita is there. If you need him, I wouldn't go there, but he is there. Defenders, so slightly more exciting, and this is where I made the fixture error last time. It was 1, and I'm that pedantic that I had to change it and go back and re-record the whole video because of it. But Mark Gay, he's still one of the top picks, and to me, he's the top pick in the game right now because of his recoveries per 90 and the team he's playing in and the value and the fixtures. It's just too good to pass up. The only downside to him is a huge lack of goal threat. Maximilian Mittelstadt jumps to the top of the list now with no real lack of risk of rotation for starting at least, but Raum did do very well. Reminds me of that Gears of War 1 boss enemy. But Raum does have a slight threat to his minutes, but in my opinion, not to his starts, because Mittelstadt has looked very good. And as you can see, his expected goal involvement is very good too. Fixture is pretty good too, because Denmark don't look very offensive. Mark Cucurella, the man with the crazy hair, against Georgia, 4.5 million, 8 recoveries per 90 minutes per game. 0.26 expected goal involvement per 90. What is not to like, really? Grimaldo is what's not to like. He might come in, there's a chance, but I don't see it. These are my top 3 picks. If you want to double up on England, you could go with Kieran Trippier. He's one of the most creative players for England right now, which says a lot for Gareth Southgate's lack of ability to coach offensive football. Attacking football. It is quite offensive, this football, how dour it is to watch. But I digress. Kieran Trippier is the second upside pick in that England defence. There is a slight risk of rotation there. He could just put in Shaw and drop Trippier if Shaw is fit. He could put Walker left back and drop Trippier and play Trent at right back. There is that chance. So there is risk there, but there is high upside because he is on some set pieces and he is creative. The other one, if you want much more of a safe pick, is John Stones at 5 million, who has decent recoveries but almost no expected goal involvement. I've already warned you about Trippier though, but he does have that upside. We have João Cancelo, who's kind of dropped down a little bit because of his minutes, and also there is always that risk of rotation because of how much Roberto Martinez wants to rotate those fullbacks. Expected goal involvement's kind of gone down too. I still think he's one of the strongest defensive picks in the game, especially with that fixture running the team he's in and his historic goal involvement. But yeah, he is there and he's still a fantastic pick. Nathan Ake jumps up the list. Great recoveries. Not great recoveries, good recoveries. Decent goal involvement. Has got a couple of assists. Really good fixture. Why is he here over Van Dijk? I hear you ask, Spear, right? It's because of his price. He's 0.5 cheaper and he carries a bit more goal involvement from general play. Van Dijk is 0.5 more and has more of a recovery rate. In fact, he has one of the best recoveries per 90 in the game, Van Dijk, but it's 0.5 more. He's very, very viable though. I just didn't want to, overstimulate the visual senses with putting Van Dijk and Ake on the same list. It'd be silly, but Van Dijk's very viable. Speaking of double picks from the same team, Danny Carvajal does make the list. Again, my issue here is the price. Why would you go over him over Cucurella? He's in here because I think it's very viable to double up on Spain against a poor Georgia side. I know they got the win against Portugal and the commentators are trying to make out that it's the best thing ever. And I'm very happy for Georgia. I hope Georgia go far in the tournament. I always want to see underdogs do well. But there was 8 players rested for Portugal, right? And they were already top of the group. They didn't need to play. It was effectively just, a run out for them. I know it meant a lot to Georgia, and I'm happy they won, but I'm just mentioning, don't be too fooled by that result, given the circumstances for Portugal. That's all. But still fantastic for Georgia. So Carvajal at home against Georgia, 0.31 XGI per 90, 6 recoveries per 90. Really, really strong pick. There is, again, much like I said for Matchday 3, where I didn't recommend him because of the risk of rotation, which happened, and Jesus Navas and Grimaldo came in. There is that risk there, but these two would obviously seem like the first choices, so you can go with them. Next up, I would say from this point onwards in the defender list, the next ones are a sort of tier down, and I'll explain why now. Theo Hernandez is the fixture. It is the fixture. Great expected goal involvement still, he always does. Not the best recoveries per 90 and not the best price, but Belgium is a bad fixture and then he'll probably play Spain. Jules Koundé is 0.5 cheaper, has better recoveries per 90, but has almost no expected goal involvement. So you could go with one of them two. Poshk, which is the specific defender which I wrote Romania instead of Turkey on, and I wanted to re-record the whole video because it annoyed me so much. He's up next at 4.5 million. 0.06 XGI per 90 isn't going to impress anyone. And his expected goals conceded isn't going to impress anyone, but he has a great recovery rate, great fixture, playing for an informed team. He's just sort of an outside the box pick. Italian duo are next, and there is some risk around this because of Calafiori being banned. Here's the other centre-back for Italy. Bastoni stands alongside him and has a great recovery rate per 90 and decent goal threat so far this tournament. Not the best price at 5.5 and not the best fixture against Switzerland, who do look quite good in an attacking sense. In fact, one of the most impressive sort of mid-tier sides in that sense. Dimarco's stats don't really reflect his position or how much he does attack. My only issue with Dimarco is he did get hooked early in that recent game against Croatia. But he's still a fantastic pick, as he was at the start of the tournament. Last on the list, and least, is Wout Faes. No expected goal involvement, decent recovery rate, decent expected goals conceded per 90, good minutes expected. But France, I mean, you're only really getting this guy if you have 4 million left. Other options you could look at 4 million is Rabiot, of course, one of my previous recommendations for Romania. But again, bad fixture against Netherlands. And also Lineheart for Austria against Turkey. But there is a risk of rotation there, but he is 4 million. The other one who you're seeing missing is Jonathan Tah. He is banned, so again, but I don't see that weaken the German defence that much because Slotterback's a very good centre-back and very capable. Hopefully you enjoyed that defender list there. Now on to the midfielders. I think it's actually this it's slimmest pickings, is that a term? In midfield. The top 2 picks here will be in my teams. When I say teams, I play the UEFA game. I have 1 team in the UEFA game, and I think I have 2 or 3 in the fan team game, where you can have multiple teams in that one because it costs to enter. Fernandez and Sabitzer will be in both of those if I can squeeze them in. Just really good picks. Fernandez, we don't need to talk about him that much, right? It's Bruno Fernandes. In all the top leagues, he's some of the most impressive, not only expected goal involvement stats, but goal involvement stats. And he's continued them through this tournament, even though the scores haven't reflected that too much. Just pick him and don't worry about it. Slovenia's a great fixture. Portugal are a great side. He's a great player. Great minutes. Don't worry about it. Marcel Sabitzer. Also, I realised that some of these players, like the Portuguese players, only played 2 games and skipped the last game because they got rotated. Same with some of the Spanish players. But I'm going based upon how many appearances they made, right? So he only made 2 appearances, 90 in both. It's 90 average. Marcel Sabitzer, a fantastic pick. He was in my original guide. If some of you watched that, 90 minutes per game, set pieces, 6.5, good manager. Arguably the form team of the tournament based upon how much we expected them to do in the tournament. Turkey don't look good. I've watched the Turkey games. Yeah, just a great pick, great price. Just go for it. Kevin De Bruyne. I don't like the fixture, but he's just such a good player and has such good stats that I just can't ignore it. If you do need to sacrifice a premium, maybe that's the place you do it, but I still really like him as a pick. But France is a rough fixture because they're very defensive and very good. Baumgartner, who again I recommended, and some of you followed me on that, has done really well. There's only one small issue with him, and that is his minutes. He did get rotated in the 3rd game, but did come on and get assist, which is awesome, right? Again, another fantastic pick. Better XGI stats than Sabitzer, but on less set pieces and less minutes. I prefer more minutes and more set pieces personally, so if I don't double up, I'd probably go just Sabitzer, but both very viable. Next, we have Pedri, who, generally speaking, when you're watching Pedri, isn't the most attacking player of all time, but his stats this tournament have been very good. What I don't like is his minutes. 65 average minutes is awful. I don't think he's completed more than 71 minutes this tournament. That's the issue with Pedri. Everything else is good. Bernardo Silva comes in next. Great stats across the board, really. Great fixture, great team. 8.5 million is an issue, but if you have spare cash and want a differential, he is there. Now we start to drop off here. I would say at this point onwards is our sort of drop off, much like with the defenders. Ilkay Gundogan for Germany has better stats than Wirtz, has similar stats to Musiala, but he plays 25-30 minutes more per game. And in a tournament where you might have extra time, that is very important. I still think he's the better pick, even though Musiala, I know, has more points. You could go Musiala or Wirtz. I'm not going to, but you can. They're fine to retain in other games if you would have the transfers in other games, but in this we have unlimited. I don't think there's a reason to keep Wirtz and Musiala, but if you want to, they're very viable. The fixture's good. I just don't like low minutes expectations. And it's hard to pick from, one of 4 attackers for Germany, because it's unlikely that all 4 are going to haul. Next up, so I'll leave Wirtz out, but he is there just for reference. It's Kvaratskhelia, Kvaradona, Kvar. Finally got his goal after I took him out, of course. So hopefully you kept him in. 0.32 XGI per 90 is actually higher. I just couldn't find any updated stats to get this video out sooner for you with the Portugal game where the Georgian team won 2-0, which is fantastic. I expect him to play most of the games, if not all the game, against Spain, but I expect Georgia to get pumped by Spain, to be honest with you. We'll see how it goes. I really hope Georgia go far in the tournament, but that's just what I see. I still think he's a viable pick, because if Georgia are going to do anything, it's going to go through him or Mikhail Tadze. Other picks that aren't making the list. I already mentioned Musiala, not for me. Williams is an alternate to Pedri for Spain, but again, low minutes, and there's better picks for Spain. Xavi Simons for Netherlands, too much rotation risk for me and doesn't have the stats to back it up, but is very attacking. Christian Eriksen, great player, great form, done really well from the pick so far, but the fixture's awful. Playing the home team in Germany. And then we also have the English lot, Bellingham, Saka, Foden. If you've watched any England games of the past 6 years under Southgate, I wouldn't recommend any England attackers other than Harry Kane. If you really want someone, go with Bellingham because he gets recoveries and plays full matches, really. There is Saka and Foden as well. I'm not going to pick them. You can if you want. I don't have faith in Southgate's ability to manage an England attack. They just had a very easy group, and I think, one win, 2 draws, horrible. On to the most exciting part for a lot of you is the strikers. Ronaldo and Hakpo are actually my favourite picks for the striking position, which I didn't think I would be saying actually going into the round of 16. But look at Ronaldo's stats; they're just miles better than everybody else's in the tournament, let alone at striker. Slovenia is a very easy fixture for them. Portugal are a very good side. He's going to want to score a lot of goals, let alone just win. And his minutes have been really good too, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting good minutes, but not this good. So put him in, captain him when it's his day. Go for it. Yeah. Then we have Hakpo as well. Cody Gakpo for Liverpool and Netherlands. He's a strange player to watch from a football perspective, but he's very effective in his ability to, create and make goals, score goals. Really good minutes, which is what I like, and a really good fixture, a really good price. So I am looking at him into my striking setup. He might not be, but I think for his price and everything else, that's why he's highlighted here. Again, you don't have to go with those 2 picks. I would recommend having Ronaldo there and then picking 2 others. Harry Kane does make the list, and I don't necessarily think he should be third in the list. It's just that his expected minutes, him as a player individually, the team is playing a very bad. If finally some England attackers show up, he's going to be the one to do so, in my opinion. If England get a penalty, he's on penalties. If they get a short range free kick, he might take it. Yeah, it is what it is. He's in there because of minutes and him as an individual player, not because of the Southgate side he's in. This Southgate side's one of the most boring English sides I've seen play in my lifetime. This far. So, yeah. And not for me. I probably won't go with Harry Kane, but he is there just to show you the stats and stuff. Kylian Mbappe for France is next. I prefer him to Kane, but the game isn't very good. Belgium will probably try to shut up shop, but Mbappe's stats are really good. And if France are going to do anything, it's through him, but that's the same for England, right, through Kane. And the French side, from throughout my life of watching football thus far, this Kylian Mbappe is just incredible. So, I mean, who needs to say that or hear that, right? But he's a very good pick. It's just his price, really. Now there's kind of maybe a little tiny drop off here, and it's kind of difficult to order them all. Honestly, from Kane to Lukaku, you could put them in any order here. Morata is next. Minutes are not good. That's the rough thing here. But I could see him getting a couple of goals against Georgia. I worry for minutes, though. I worry for minutes. So don't pick him and then complain to me because I worry for his minutes. Georgia, one of the weakest sides in qualifying defensively and in the actual tournament. Morata's a good pick. I might have him. Romelu Lukaku is still a very good pick. I know I say it every video, but he is. He really is. He could turn up in this game. Who knows? But historically, in recent years, he's kind of gone a little missing in some games. Some of these big games, like I remember the Inter Milan Man City game, for example. But he's there, and again, very, very viable. Could easily be the top scorer of the week. Maybe a little bit of a drop off here to the next lot. So if we had, Ronaldo and Gakpo as the top tier, we have Kane, Mbappe, Morata, and Lukaku as the next tier. Maybe a little drop off here. Havertz, if he played 90 minutes, would be alongside Gakpo, really. But he just gets subbed too easily. I know the German fans want Fulkrug to play as well. And maybe he does better against Denmark. I don't know. So he's there, but I don't like his minutes. Yamin Lamal, the young starlet for Spain, 0.73 XGI per 90 is really good. What isn't good is his minutes. And I know his minutes look better than Morata's, but I do expect Morata to play much more minutes than Lamela going forward. Yeah, those minutes are rough. The price is really good. The talent's really good. The team's really good. The fixture's really good. But it's sort of a high risk, high reward for those players. Most of the Spanish picks from the midfield and forward line is high risk, high reward because you just don't know how many minutes they're going to get. Last on the list, but not least really, is Mikhail Tadze. And if you need a very cheap man in your forward line to make things up, it's Mikhail Tadze. Those are XGI stats are for him are before the conclusion of the Georgia-Portugal game, though that one has finished. And it doesn't include penalties either, obviously, because that's silly to include on XGI per stats because you know if they take penalties or not. But 0.43 for him, and he just looks really good. He's arguably the most informed player of the tournament. You could really argue that, honestly. He looks really good price. Again, Spain's a horrible fixture though, but if you need a cheapie, he is there. Ones I've missed out here: Memphis Depay is your alternate to Hakpo. Worse XGI stats and worse minutes, but a similar price. Maybe on a few more set pieces. I don't know. It's hard to tell with the Netherlands. Very viable Memphis Depay. Schranz, who was in our other videos for Slovakia. I prefer Mikhail Tadze, but you could go with Schranz if you want at 5.5, 2 goals in 3 games so far. Another one I didn't put in is Antoine Griezmann. If he started in that third fixture, he would be in this list because his XGI stats, he has 0.94, which is very good. But if you're not going to start him in a crunch game, I worry for his minutes in the remainder of the tournament. But if you can gamble on Griezmann's minutes and predict them well, then congratulations. He's a very viable pick, but he's 9 million. Okay. Next up is a little special section that I put together here. We're only at 20 minutes. That's good. That's crazy, actually. We're only at 20 minutes. Normally when I watch some content creators in this area, they waffle on for like an hour just about their own team. But anyway, I digress. 20 minutes for that is pretty good. Round of 16. Don't tell them I said that. Round of 16. These are my loose predictions. Do I actually think this will happen? I just kind of put this together just to show you like a realistic route to the tournament. I do think my predictions for the round of 16 should come to fruition. Quarterfinals is where you could really predict either way for a lot of them. Maybe bar the... Yeah, I honestly think they could go both ways from quarterfinals onwards. But as you can see, England and Netherlands have a decent run to the final. Whilst the other 4 big teams don't. So Spain, Germany, Portugal, France have a really after this fixture have a really difficult run to the final. Netherlands and England actually have a pretty easy run to the final if they're capable of doing so. It could be any of those, right? Though, so Netherlands, England, Italy, France, Portugal, Spain, Germany. Obviously, they're all the favourites, I know, but I've kind of made my loose prediction there just to show you kind of what I expect for picks going forward. Speaking of which, the Limitless pick chip, I've had a lot of questions about. Hopefully this image will give you a better understanding of why I've recommended for you to wait to use it. And that is because, let's say we're in the semi-finals, right? And you try and pick a squad of 15 starting players from Spain, France, Netherlands, and England that fits the budget. I can almost guarantee it'd be very, 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 very difficult to do so. And you'll end up having players that are already knocked out in your team just to try and make up the budget. With Limitless, you can have a full team of 15 that rotate across the 2 days. So I will be using it in either the semi-final or the quarter-final, probably. It's really viable in both, honestly. Yeah, so that's my recommendation, is the quarter-final or semi-final for your Limitless. Obviously, if you've got your Wildcard, that should also be used in the quarterfinal or semi-final if you haven't already used that. Maybe semi-final is better for the Wildcard, Limitless for quarterfinals if you're going that way. For Limitless, it's whichever way you go. I'll be deciding based upon how fixtures go and how players perform. Okay. My final thoughts then to finish up. I can't believe we're only at 24 minutes right now. I must have spoken way too fast. We have unlimited transfers. Obviously, I'm just trying to. Some people will forget and just make 2 transfers or whatever. We have unlimited transfers right now. Restructure your whole team. If you're doing very well, it's fine to pick template picks. So there aren't that many template picks, which is great when you have a 15-person game. So pick your. If you're doing very well in the ranks, pick the premiums, pick the ones you really like. Doesn't matter if the template or not. If you're chasing, I would say, making risks on Spain attackers, doubling up on certain teams might be viable because you're chasing. Obviously, pick stronger teams against weak teams. That goes without saying. And that is why France versus Belgium, I don't have many picks from other than their star men. Teams to target for me, Portugal, Spain, Germany, Netherlands. They've just got great picks across the board and great fixtures this week. Netherlands especially have good fixtures going forward. England have good fixtures going forward, but they have a non-existent attack. Like I said, for as long as I've been watching England so far, this is one of the worst performing England attacks I've seen, considering the talent in there. They've got some of the best players in the leagues, in each league, in their attack, and Southgate can't get them functioning properly. So if you need some defenders, England's a great one to target. I wouldn't go with their attack. Harry Kane is the only one that's viable. France versus Belgium, I'd just avoid it and just enjoy the game because it should be a fantastic game. Lukaku and Mbappe are obvious picks. De Bruyne as well. Defenders I really don't like and goalkeepers I really don't like from this fixture just because it could be any score. Though I expect it to be low scoring. Strong 15 is back. So what I mean by that is, pick from strong teams now. You shouldn't really be going for some of the weaker teams because they're going to get knocked out pretty soon. Though I hope they don't. I hope we have some upsets. Cheap defenders from big teams are your backbone of your entire team and will allow you to put more money into your forward line and midfield. And again, I wouldn't bother with punts or rotation risk unless you're chasing. Say if you're outside of the top million, something like that, or outside the top $500,000, punts are absolutely fine. I still wouldn't even bother with rotation risk. So MPG stats are important again because you'll understand, okay, I'm picking this pick based upon what Spear said, but he's already warned me that they may get rotated or subbed early. I really like players that play the full 90 because I enjoy watching them for the full 90, and I enjoy the fact that they can still get points while they're on the pitch. If you pick a Lamal and he's hooked off at 55 minutes, he ain't scoring any more points. But there is that risk reward of certain fixtures and certain stats as well. I hope you enjoyed the video. This one took the longest, I would say, maybe to put together because I updated all the new stats. Make sure you're subscribed. I'll be doing FPL videos once that's released too, and once the Euros finish up. We'll be doing a quarterfinals video also, which should be good because the quarters or the semis will be limitless for most people, or for a lot of people, certainly for me. So that'll be a really nice one to do. I've got some great matches coming up, and hopefully the matches won't be similar to those England matches or even the England group, which was just horrible to watch, really horrible to watch. As usual, if you want to buy me a little something, you can head to my throne.com/speardrops. The link's in the description. If you like my videos, sharing them, commenting, liking really helps the algorithm. Turning notifications on and subscribing will make sure you see my new videos as soon as they go live to give you as much time and information as possible before each fantasy football deadline. And I may also put some normal football videos out as well in the future. Twitch.tv/speardrops for my gaming live streams, and @speardrops on Twitter if you want to see random football and life musings, and I sometimes post when I post the videos as well. All the best to you. Good luck. We're on for a great rest of the tournament, unless you're an England fan, in which case it's going to be very boring based on what we've seen so far. But the rest of the team is fantastic to watch. I hope we see some big upsets because it's why we watch football, really. And yeah, some great football. Hopefully no sort of France-England type performances that we've seen so far. Good luck to you. I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.